Hey, Marriage Real Talk family. Welcome everyone who's new to the group. I am Tia and you're in Tia Time. Normally during Tia Time, I give communication tips and techniques that will help you in your marriage. Welcome. If there's any questions that you have, feel free to pop them up in the chat. I'm more than happy to address any questions. But today, I wanted to give you communication tips and techniques on how to win an argument, whether it is with your significant other or with your spouse. If you do these things, you will win the argument every single time. Now, I must say, I'm sorry, this video may be a little misleading. I feel like sometimes we do this thing where we're communicating and we're so focused on dominating one another and we're so focused on being right and we're so focused on being heard that we miss what it takes to win an argument. Let me tell you what it takes to win an argument. Winning an argument means you have actually solved the problem. Bam. So many people are not ready for that. You're more focused on being heard and someone agreeing with you than you are on actually solving what exactly the problem is in this relationship. And in able to solve this problem, you really need to listen. Sometimes it takes a little bit of time to listen. It takes some patience. It takes putting that ego away. It takes being slow to speak. It also takes being a person who is willing to understand before you're trying very hard to be understood. And that's hard to do. Let me say this. If you were the person who is presenting this difficult information and you find yourself involved in this banter, if you're presenting the information, of course you want to be understood because you're the one presenting the information. But if you are the listener, I want you listeners, if someone is coming to you and they're talking to you about their problem, I want you to just listen. Do not fight to be understood before you take the time to understand. You've got to stop reacting and you have to learn how to respond. And you cannot respond properly if you haven't listened. If you respond prematurely before you take the time to listen and understand what your spouse has to say, then you will lose the argument because you'll never solve the problem and you'll just keep trying to dominate each other. No one's going to agree with one another and it just doesn't work. What's the point? The point is you've made a commitment to this person. You love them. Hopefully you care about them and you want to be at peace with them, right? And so if that's the case, take the time and know that if it's your turn to listen, that means someone came to you, they presented you with some information, and maybe at first glance you disagree with it. But sometime listen a little longer and listen for the parts that you do understand and listen for some of the parts that you do agree with and address those points first. Hey, you know what? I heard what you said. From your perspective, I can see why you would feel this way. Let me apologize for the misunderstanding. I think there are some things that you may not understand about me. Do you mind if I bring context to some of those points that you just made? That is one communication technique that will really help you to really turn this conversation around quite a bit, because so many times what we're doing is we're only seeing our piece of this. We're seeing our perspectives of one another, and I always say this in my prior videos, is that you do not have the truth all by yourself. The truth is this piece with that piece put together makes one truth. So always understand that coming from your perspective is important. If you want to win an argument, if you are the presenter of this information, the most important thing to do is to not come at them accusing them and telling them how wrong they are and attacking them, because if you do that, you're going to trigger a defense mechanism that you don't want and you're not going to get the results you want. The best thing to do is to speak for yourself. From my perspective, what I have witnessed, what I've observed, and I would love for you to bring context to this because I want to understand you better. I actually want to love you better than I do right now. And in order for me to do that, I need you to blank. So think about the way that is. I just presented this in a way that says, hey, there may be a misunderstanding here. And I'm going to open up the door for you to talk. This way someone is not trying to dominate you with being understood. You're letting them know, I need to express my perspective. I'm going to give you some room and time to present yours, but understand my points first. And when it's your turn to talk, validate what they said. Let them know you understood from their perspective, but you like to bring more context. This is saying that I'm going to put my truth piece puzzle with yours, and together we're going to figure this thing out. So the only way to win an argument against your spouse is to actually solve the problem. And you've got to come to some kind of point of agreement on what the problem is. I do need to say this. You have to value the person more than you value the information. This is very important. Value that person in front of you. Value your spouse, that boyfriend, that girlfriend, whatever. In any relationship you're in, this is someone you love and they're telling you that they are hurting or they're upset or they're offended. You have to value that relationship more than you value the words that are coming out of their mouth. And sometimes what we do is we put more value on what they said, and then we feel like we don't have to value the person because there's something they said that we can't handle or we disagree with. You don't want to live like that. This is not a good way to build a strong relationship. So understand that even if that person might be wrong about you or what they said is wrong or they're taking it the wrong way, value them. Value them enough to say, I'm so sorry I made you feel this way. This is not my intention. I love you. I want to be closer to you. Apparently, there's room for growth here. What can we do together to make sure that we're understanding each other better? So if they're telling you something about what they need, there's another way to win the argument is to stop trying to analyze your spouse's needs. You can't analyze it. They need what they need. They are who they are. So acceptance is really big here in this communication piece. I don't understand why you need that. Well, guess what? Just because you don't get it doesn't mean they're going to need it any less. So you have to ask yourself this. If you want your spouse to walk away without their needs being met, what do you want them to do with that? What do you want them to do with that? You're going to lose if they walk away feeling like you don't care about what they need. You're refusing to give it to them. You're refusing to listen. You're refusing to agree. They're not asking you for permission to have needs. They're telling you that I have needs. I have something I need from you. And I'm trying to communicate this to you. And I want you to be a part of my solution, not part of my problem. So you have to learn how to listen and hear another person's heart. If you want to win an argument, you've got to put that ego away. Focus on resolve, not focusing on winning, not focusing on dominating. If you're at this place where someone has to win, you're going to lose. You're going to lose your relationship if you have to win, if you have to beat them in this exchange of words. There's no winning in that situation. The only way to win is for two people to walk away at peace with some form of a resolve as to how do we evolve from this place. And every time we speak, something is supposed to change. That's what communication is supposed to do. Something is going to change in you. Something's going to change in me. You need to honor that. Honor that someone gave you their ear. They're listening to you. So make sure you handle this with respect and dignity, okay? So there's an analogy that I like to give. If you've got to respect the person that is listening to you, you can't just spew out any words or say anything just because you're upset. You're not going to win that way. So one of the best ways to win an argument is to control your emotions. If you're too emotional and you're too hostile, have a friend or someone you can confide in, a therapist or someone you can work out those messy emotions with first. So that way when you come and talk to your spouse, the person that you love or your significant other, you can focus on the resolve and getting to the solution of exactly what you need from that person. That's one really important thing to do, because if you are too nasty, you're too aggressive, too mean, too cruel, they've got their own hang-ups, their own feelings, their own emotions, and their own history too. If you impose that on them, you're not going to get to the solution. So if the best way to win an argument is to find out, what do you want? What is the real solution? And to get to that together, work through that together. That might take time, that might take some patience, and you're going to have to be patient with helping them get to that point. But do not create these big, thick barriers with a bad attitude. You don't want to do that. So my analogy is, imagine you are the owner of a very expensive store, right? And someone walks in and there's a $2,000 table you're trying to sell. Someone cannot come in and be like, I'll give you $200 for that table. That is what you do. When someone is talking, when you're talking to somebody and you want them to listen to you and you're not going to respect them when you're talking to them, you were trying to bring their value down. That's what you're doing in that. People are only going to let you bring their value down so far before they're like, get out of my store. So if you cannot honor the person who is listening to you at all, you don't deserve to be in that store. You don't have the money. you ain't got it, and that's okay. You may have to go back, save up, store up, go to your therapist, work it out, save up, store up some money, and then come back when you can make a real bargain. But you cannot take somebody from $2,000 down to $200 with being nasty and being mean or whatever it is, and expect them to give you all this sympathy and love and heart. You need to really give what you want. There's the good book says, do unto others as you would have them do unto you. You have to treat people the way you want to be treated. So if the shoe were on the other foot, how would you want to be spoken to? That's very important. We don't treat people the way they deserve to be treated. Treat people the way you want to be treated. Not treat people the way they treated you. Treat people the way you want to be treated. And this is how we create this beautiful reciprocal system of respect and honor and love and joy and decency and peace. This is how you win an argument. Do not try to bring down your significant other's value by being rude, cruel, mean, insulting, condescending, sarcastic. This is how you lose the argument. You lose it because you don't get to actually solve your problem. Okay? So, I hope that this was very, very helpful. And this is a saying that I hate so much. My friends know I hate when people say this. It's easier said than done. Everything is easier said than done. I know that. But if you know better and you can't do better, this is a beautiful place in your life where therapy comes in. Okay? If you can't control your mouth, or you're too emotional, or you're too hostile about something, the question is, do you want to solve your problem, or do you want to express your problem? You can't always do both. So if you want to win the argument, solve the problem, get to the resolve. And getting to the resolve means I need something from you, right? There's a reason why we don't go into work and act any kind of way. We don't act any kind of way because we need something from that employer. It's a reciprocal system. I need this job. I need this money. So I'm not going to impose all my feelings and all my emotions on my employer because I need something from them. You're the one that's vulnerable. If you need something from them, don't make it hard on yourself to get it. People are just people. Even if they love you, don't take their love for granted. Don't take advantage of it. Don't push it to the edge. Because guess what? They don't have to be there. They chose to be there. Honor that. That's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful thing. Someone's choosing to listen to you. It's beautiful. Be responsible with that. So I hope that these communication tips and techniques helped you in your marriage and your relationship. For more, you can reach out to me. I also have a communication book. It's called Canceled. It's to help you prevent being canceled in your personal and professional life. You can find it on my website, ramymarketing.com/books. I also developed a communications planner. So if you need to have a difficult conversation and you need help planning out those thoughts and strategies on how to have it, I've got a book, like a journal, just for you. Let me know. I will send it your way. You can find it on Amazon. It's called The Communication Planner by Tia Ramey. But I hope you all have a wonderful, wonderful time enjoying your marriages and your relationships. Again, welcome to the group for those of you who are new. And if you like this video, please share. Bye.